I'm Katy Wells, host of the Maximized Minimalist podcast. I escaped the hamster wheel of modern-day motherhood, overwhelmed by clutter and buried under the mental load. Now I live in a home that feels calm, manageable, and made for real life. I have margin in my days, energy for who matters most, and time for slow mornings and silly dance parties in the kitchen with my family. With over 5 million listens, the show has helped women around the world turn their homes into their happy place. Around here, we simplify for more peace, more presence, and more joy. We choose grace over guilt and progress over perfection. And we believe your home should give back more than it takes. I'm here to help you do the same. Come along with me and my guests as we share the real stories, habits, and strategies that help you lighten the load from the inside out. Pull up a seat, friend, and let's do this together. Ready, set, simplify. Hello, Arlene. Welcome to the Maximized Minimalist.
I'm so excited to be with you. Thanks so much for having me, Katy.
Same. So I got to know Arlene. I was on her show, The Happy Home, which is just such a beautiful name, earlier this year. And I was so excited to invite her on our show after we talked because her newest book, so get this, listener, she's a multi-time author, 10 books. This is incredible. She's written, I wrote one and I'm like still exhausted from it.
In recovery, so, I understand.
Yes, for sure. And her newest book really is such a beautiful book. It's called Making Marriage Easier. And just the title alone, I'm like, yeah, sign me up. And I'm excited to dig in, to this topic with you today, because I think you bring some really fresh, unique, helpful perspective on a topic we all know. I mean, if we're married, it takes work, right? So it's a relationship. And I want to kick us off. You say there are 4 decisions that we'll be talking about today that make marriage genuinely easier and happier. So my question is, where did that framework come for you? How was that born?
Yeah. So my husband and I, at the time of the book, when I was writing it, were married 25 years. As you know, it takes a while to write it and then get it out into the world. So now we've been married 27. And we were just kind of looking back and thinking, marriage took effort, like it takes effort. But generally speaking, this has been a good thing. Like generally speaking, I'm really happy that I'm married and this hasn't been the source of my, the epicenter of my troubles. And I just thought, like, why was it easier? Like, why are so many people struggling in their marriage? I don't think we're superheroes. I don't think we really did anything. Like, we were not going on these 3-hour date nights or, going on a monthly, thing, so it's like, how are we doing this? So it was more observing, trying to think, what are the things that have really helped us? Now my kids are 19, 21, 16, as they kind of enter potentially that marrying age in the future, like what advice would I give them? What would I tell them of what made it easier? And thinking about it, these 4 key decisions, the more I worked it, the more I thought, as long as these 4 things were happening, marriage was working really easily for us.
I love it because I'm sure they're broad, but we'll talk about them. But it's also simplistic, right? Because I think a lot of us think it's like, we could have a checklist of 18,000 things on it.
Totally.
Just like you said, the 3-hour date night. And so many of us are in seasons and only have certain capacities. So it can feel like one more thing.
Yes.
So talk to us about, I don't know if they're ordered in by prioritization or just generally speaking, but what's the first one?
The first decision is play by the rules. That instead of wondering, do we do that? Do we not do that? Is this okay? Is this not okay? You just kind of from the very outset, some of them are unspoken rules. Some of them will be spoken rules. But for instance, one of ours was we're going to eat together every day. So this was just this very simple rule that when we were first married, in 1999, my crazy husband was like, could we not have a TV our first month of marriage? And I was working as a TV producer. I watched TV all the time. I was like, what? This is great. And he said, because, we're newlyweds and I don't want to just like get home from work and then just sit and watch TV. Like I want to do activities and I want to be with you. And I was like, well, that is legitimate. Like that's actually really sweet. So I said, okay, let's do this experiment of this 1 month without TV. And I will tell you what, in terms of minimalism, that quiet, that spot that we knew was ours became then our rhythm, that we kept it. We got the TV, but we didn't put it on, at night. And we guarded that dinner time to be this, from the very beginning, before we had the siren of phones and all those things from the very beginning, like dinner time is for connection, conversation. It can be really plain, like a rotisserie chicken. That's not, but the point is you're eating together. So that daily rhythm, because what happens is when you lose, so that's one of our rules, eat together every day. Now, obviously, if someone's out of town, that's not a big deal. Someone has a really late meeting, like please eat, so it's not like this legalistic thing, but it should feel more weird when you're not eating together than, oh, wow, we're having a meal together and it's not a holiday. Like, what is happening here? So make it a rhythm, because if you go 1 day, 2 days, 3 days and you haven't eaten together, it's like you're not connecting, you're not spending time, you don't really know what's going on. And it's just really easy for those slow fades to set in. And dinner is just a great, like, play by the rules. We will eat dinner together.
I love that. I heard a study recently that highlighted the long-term value of sharing one meal together as often as you can, and sometimes it's like, PB&J's at the baseball game in certain seasons, right? Yes. It doesn't have to be around a dinner table, but it's that time together. And it was, it just spoke volumes. And I love how you said the word guarding. I often think about like guardrails on a highway. It's like, they're not there to make you feel like, wow, I really want to drive over there. They're there to keep you safe and like heading in the direction you want to go in. And this is what you're talking about. So you said, know the rules, follow the rules, play by the rules. And I'm really curious, obviously on the show, we talk a lot about physical clutter and home management in general. So when it comes to rules of like household management, what does that look like for you in a 27-year marriage? Was it, I'm responsible for X, you're responsible for Y? Did it evolve? Did it take ongoing conversation, whether it was clutter or just picking up after each other or chores?
So many funny stories I could tell you. I'm gonna start here. So my kids at the time, let's say they're like 5, 3, and 1. And the house is like a mess. Like there are toys everywhere. Whatever I pull out, like I can't get ahead of it. And my husband, who's a realtor, comes home one day. And of course, what do realtors do? They look at picked up perfect homes where everyone has hidden everything in the closet, right? And then he's coming home every day to this mass chaos. So one day he had been listening to talk radio and he realized that is my house. Like it was Dennis Prager. And Dennis Prager was talking about how the house of yesteryear, you could tell there were adults that lived there and like kids just had a few things like in a kitchen area. But the house of today, it's like you cannot tell that adults live there. Like kids' stuff is in every single room. And I was saying like, that is not wrong. So he came home and he said, okay, I have a request. Do you think it's possible that we could make it look like adults lived here? Do you think it's possible? Right. So of course, as a wife, whatever, the person that's home, maybe you're the dad and you're the one at home, but whoever's home with the kids is thinking, what a ridiculous request. Part of marriage and making it easier is like, let me just try that. Like that is actually valid. Let me just try that. So I took our 3 kids to every room in the house, like a scavenger hunt with a piece of paper. And I said, put a check mark. We're going to do it together. And we're going to put a check mark in every room that has your toys in it. And we found, of course, every single room had toys in it except my bathroom. I think that was the only place. So I told them, okay, starting tomorrow, we're going to put all of our toys in your room or in the living room or the family room, right? So there's still a big swath, but we're going to make it smaller. And then now we're going to get baskets and we're going to put your things in baskets and you're going to help me put away. Now, did this like last forever? No, but it showed my husband, wow, you actually care and you're trying. And it really did make it better. And I felt better as well. And it was also teaching the kids the lesson. Hey, by the way, mom and dad live here too, and they pay the bills. So we should probably make it halfway pleasant for them. Like that is a good lesson for a 3, 5-year-old to learn. Like I am not the center of the universe. I actually, I'm part of a team here. So we were able, after kind of that tipping point, to be able to keep the things in those rooms instead of everywhere. And then as things got out of hand, then it'd be like my husband would snap and he'd be like, everybody's got to put this stuff away. This place is a mess, and then we'd go to it. So that's kind of our rhythm, that we try our best to keep it in the spots. And then until my husband pops, and then we say like, okay, we better clean up. And then for chores and things like that, it was kind of like if somebody makes dinner, then somebody else cleans up. So most of the time it's me making dinner. And then by making, I mean a assembling. And then it means like the kids are the ones who clean up, or my husband's the one who cleans up. And my husband is a very like, his parents made him do a lot of chores. So he came into the marriage doing everything. Like I know how to do everything, where I was more the spoiled only child who did not do laundry until she went to college and did not know how to cook because my mother always cooked for me. So that was like a blending of, hey, let's work together. But my husband, he'll pick up, I mean, he will clean something just as just as much as I will clean something. And it is kind of the joke that one day I was cleaning the blinds and he literally was like, what is that noise? And I said, I'm cleaning the blinds. And he was like, I haven't heard that noise in 2 years. And I was like, yeah, that's pretty much right. I'm writing books, man. I don't have time for blinds. So it's kind of a joke in our family, but we all pitch in and try to get it done.
I love it. For my listener listening, what happens when you notice a rule? Often I think they're unspoken before they're spoken, and often cultural, especially in marriages, where they're like, well, I don't like this rule. I don't like things are going. I need to bring this up. What's your, and first of all, I love how your husband kind of brought that request to you. Yeah. And your response too was it wasn't taking it personal. It wasn't like, I think you're a bad mom. You're a slob. You could have personalized it that way. Yes. And maybe you did initially, but then we're like, hold on, this is a valid response, right? So I loved how you shared that. But for someone listening who's like, ooh, what are the rules? Like, where do we start?
Yeah, it is a protection of we. And in marriage, you are becoming a team. So when we are trying to self-protect all the time, like, oh, I gotta, this is about me, this is about me, this is about me. That's typically when we get in trouble in our marriages, when we are too much like, well, what about me? So it isn't us, like this rule exists for both of us. And so if you think that a rule like, hey, I'm not going to have dinner with another man, right? So I'm not going to have coffee or dinner with another man. If even for business, then I'm going to ask, hey, could someone else come along, et cetera, et cetera. So as best as I can, I'm going to try to do that. So let's say you think, well, I don't like that rule. I should be able to have lunch with whoever I want to, and you guys disagree. Then it is coming together, and literally talking about it. And a lot of times you will just come to the conclusion of, you know what? I'm willing to bend in this area because it is better for us. It will strengthen our marriage. So the point is, these are rules that are going to keep us together. These are rules that are going to keep us on the same page, trusting each other. It's really looking out. And I know we want this independence and all that, but any of us, I mean, we can just go astray so easily. And I'm not only talking about, an affair or something, but just like your affections, just your interests, you can drift apart so easily. And so any kind of understanding between you that keeps you together is a good thing. And sometimes you might not love it, but for the most part, I think you guys can compromise and find things you can agree on.
Yeah. And I think that with that clarity comes a sense of trust and knowing and peace. Yeah. And I think that feels very secure and stable. So that's really beautiful. Okay. So we have, what's your second decision for the marriage?
Second decision is give thanks every day. So when you found your spouse, when you married your spouse, like you were super grateful. Like, I cannot believe I found you, right? Of all the people in the planet, like I finally found someone that's amazing. So you're so thankful. And that same Thanksgiving, whether you're 1 year in, 10 years in, 50 years in, that is so key to making marriage easier, because when you're thankful, it's like it changes your whole perspective. It changes what you see. Now you're seeing what you're grateful for. None of us, think of the opposite, right? Yeah. Someone who's not thankful is someone who is entitled, someone who is grousing, someone who's complaining, someone who's like, is this what I'm getting for dinner? Couldn't you had all day? Like, why couldn't you make something better? Like, okay, who in the world wants to live with someone like that? Right. And the opposite of that is, hey, thanks so much for making the dinner. That was a bit of an effort. Even if you don't like the dinner, you say thank you because this person made the effort. So living with that daily Thanksgiving, it makes such a huge difference. And instead of thinking of the list of all the things your spouse isn't, now you're thinking of well, wait a minute, my spouse is faithful. My spouse is handsome. My spouse is hardworking. My spouse is good with the kids. My spouse does what he says he'll do. He keeps his promises, whatever it is. And let's say you're listening, you're like, well, that's nice, Arlene. That your husband sounds awesome. That's not my husband. Well, I tell you what, you did not marry Hitler's distant cousin. You have a good sense of people. So you've married this guy, you've married this lady, So start a list of, well, they went to work. They didn't feel like it, but they went. And you just start there. And soon you'll find, oh, I can look for these things. And then even verbalizing them, telling them, hey, I saw how patient you are with our son when you really wanted to scream at him and you didn't. And you just listened. That was like amazing. Good job. I'm so thankful that you know how to do that. Just those little things. And you do that back and forth within a marriage. And that totally changes the atmosphere of the house.
I totally agree. I will say my husband is always the first one each day to do this.
Oh,
he always says, did I tell you yet today I love you? And I'll be like,
goodness.
I'll be like, yeah, like 3 times already. And he does it to the kids too, the boys, and it wasn't always that way. I need to ask him kind of what birthed that, or if it truly is just, I think honestly, he did take a class not long ago, 12 months ago on gratitude and how that can impact, your heart, mind, and soul. And in this practice, you go through all the people you're grateful for. And I think he said he realized like he never verbalizes that.
Yes.
So it's something really, like when you said that, it brought tears to my eyes because I've been on the receiving end. And I feel like, again, it's a 2-party relationship, but just when one person kind of lights that spark by saying, hey, I know you had a busy day with the kids and I appreciate you getting this food on the table. What a nice meal. When maybe your partner is feeling like, or, hey, I love you, or, hey, I appreciate, like, I love that. How you responded to the kids was so cool. And it's just people noticing, and it makes you feel so good. And then I go, oh, well, I tend to do more of that when he jumpstarts that. And I've gotten better at also initiating it. And from like a team perspective, like you talked about earlier, and I'm very much on board with that. It makes you feel more like a team when you communicate the positives. It's just like no one wants to be on a team where your teammates are talking about all the things that went wrong and all the things you're doing wrong and how you need to kick the ball this way and do this. And, and it's just a really, really beautiful. And I can't describe it other than like, I feel it in my soul, like in my heart. Like it feels like the Grinch, when it shows his heart growing. And by no means do I feel like the Grinch on a daily basis. Sometimes I do, but it's like my heart just grew when you told me that.
And how amazing that giving thanks, like it's good for the recipient and it's also good for the one who gives it. Like both parties feel so good from it and it's free. But think of it, when we hold our phones, it's totally fighting that. When we hold our phones on a typical feed, we are seeing all the things why we should not be grateful, why we should feel like a victim, why we should feel like we should have more, why we should feel, right? So just realizing, hey, maybe I need to take a break from that and see the reality that is in front of us, which is a spouse that is really trying and who really loves us. And how amazing is that?
I love your third decision too. Let's dive into that one.
Yes, the super popular one. Serve your spouse, baby. Yeah. And this is the attitude. This is not about like, would you like any Grey Poupon? No one is old enough to know that commercial, but
I remember.
Do you remember? Yes. Yeah. Thank you. Good. So, this isn't about like, I am here as your servant. What may I do for you today, my Lord? I live for you. This is like, hey, instead of walking around the house, like, what have you done for me lately? You are instead saying, hey, how can I help you? Is there anything I can do for you, babe? So it is just the idea that I am here to help you. I'm here to serve you. And it's beautiful. We hear all the time, right, about servant leadership. I know someone who leads a large company and the email signature is leading is serving. And we all know that when we see a leader and they're like picking up chairs or they're like taking 10 extra minutes to talk to every single person so they can find out what is really going on, we respect that. And in the same way in the home, when you're not, I'm above that, I'm above helping you with that, or I'm above helping you with your homework. I'm above doing the laundry. No one likes that. So instead, when you approach the home, approach the marriage, it's, hey, I'm here. I want to serve you. And maybe like for me, maybe I might say to my husband, I want to read this marriage book. And then he might say like, I don't really want to read that marriage book. But he'll think, okay, I'll serve you. He won't read it, but he'll listen to it. So, because he's an audible learner, which is great. And he'll do that because he is willing to serve me. And for me, it means like we're about to go on a ski trip, right? So my husband loves skiing. And when our kids were little, I took lessons with them. We all took lessons. On day one, I was doing great. But by day 3, 5, 50, 100, 365, they are all black diamond skiers. And I'm like terrified on the green. So we've just come to the point where that's okay. That is okay. But for years, it was me, quote unquote, serving my family by putting on the boots and being like so scared, but like, if you guys like this, I'll try it because I'm trying to be part of the team, So it's just this servant attitude of, I will try that. I'm going to serve. And just that little sentence of, hey, is there anything I can do for you today, babe? Yeah. And most likely your spouse isn't going to be like, oh yeah, I need 3 hours of your time to do such and such. Most likely they're going to be like, yeah, I would love a glass of water. And you go get the glass of water and you're kind of done. But that attitude of, can I help you?
That's so beautiful. And we all know what it feels like to be asked that question too. And it's like,
right?
It's like the clouds part, the sun shines, and it's like, oh yeah. Like honestly, I would tell Andrew water mostly. Yes, a glass of water.
Yeah.
I'm also one of those people that on the couch at the end of the night when we're chatting, I will wait for him to get up. Instead of getting my own glass of water, I'll wait. Once he gets up, I'm like, oh, you got me a glass of water while you're out.
Did you get me too?
He's like, you were just waiting for me to get up to ask me that.
That's right. He just gets up like, I'll bring your water.
Yeah. He knows now. That's so beautiful. And I think too, I'm thinking of your ski example. So mine was similar in the sense because Andrew grew up skiing. He wanted to teach the kids skiing. And I was like, by golly, I'm going to do this because I want to be a part of this experience and the connection, right?
Yes.
2 skiings under my belt. And I really quickly decided, I'm tapping out.
Oh my goodness. This is perfect.
And also feeling good about it because I tried. It's just not my thing. And I think I felt like a square trying to be put into a peg hole, like as the saying goes, or something like that, but more eloquent. So I appreciate the years and you put behind this. And I'm sure you enjoyed it to a certain extent, I
had to talk myself into, and it is exactly what you're saying.
Yeah.
This is something that they love. And why I don't want to be the like Grinch here. So why don't I just, and for me, it was like, oh, this is great. I go to a coffee shop, I read a book, like this is fine. I'm going to be fine. So your family and my family should go on vacation. And then you and I could go to the coffee shop and it would be great. It would be just right.
It's actually a match made in, it's perfection. Yes.
Totally.
Oh man, this is so great. Okay. So rounding the bend. Decision 4.
Yes. Number 4 is take fun seriously. And this one is about, hey, what brought you together? You guys, it used to be really fun. Like, look at the pictures of you guys when you were dating. You were having a lot of fun. Going to the grocery store was fun. Anything was fun. An errand was fun because you were together. And then somehow 5 years, 10 years, whatever into the marriage, you're like, fun is only for vacation. or fun is when we have money. Or fun is when we don't have these work troubles. And you're just waiting. And then years go by and you're like, we are no longer fun people. What happened to us? So take fun seriously is about to make your marriage easier if your marriage is all problems, bills, kid problems, overtime. Like, no duh. You're like, this is not very fun anymore. And then when you see each other, you bring up more problems to each other. It's like, this is not good. So you really do. You cannot afford not to have fun. You cannot afford to say like, you know what? Let's watch a silly movie together. You know what? Let's not take ourselves so seriously. Let's look at these pictures of us from 10 years ago. Where did these people go? And how can we find them again? So it is like, it's just attitude. So attitude, it doesn't cost extra money, but how can I be more fun? Like I am a fairly fun person. Like if people meet me, oh, you're very enthusiastic. But my word, when we were dating, I'm like making up songs. I'm like doing all these crazy things. And so my husband would be like, what happened? I'm like, I don't know. So we need to bring back that fun attitude and just ask the question, when was the last time we had fun together? And if it takes a really long time to answer that, then say like, we have got to plan like a little date night. We've got to plan like a little overnight in our city. It doesn't have to take a long time. And also make sure, and this is a tough one because the fun is usually with the kids, and that is good. You should be having fun with your kids, but you also need to be able to have fun with your spouse only. And that is trickier because sometimes we lean on our kids to be the funny ones and do all the jokes and all that. And then when it's just our spouse and I at dinner, we're like, oh, and we're just like staring at each other. We don't know what to do. So get used to doing that, the two of you. And the way you'll do that is practice. So the first couple dates might be like, well, that was not an immense amount of fun. But by date 5, date 7, you'll be like, oh, we're getting the swing of things again. We're figuring out how to have fun together again. And that is a good thing.
I'm thinking back, as I think most of us do, to dating Andrew. And I'm thinking of all the things that kind of just fizzled away because of the season or kids. And like you said, it's so easy to get caught in the minutia and bogged down by the day-to-day, the grind, which some days it just feels like, and for extended periods of time as well. And one of my favorite memories that I've tried to replicate, but it won't work, is we used to take car rides together to Family Video, which was our DVD store.
Oh my word, I love that so
Friday
much.
night.
I love that
it was
so
like
much.
Our local version in Iowa of Blockbuster.
I love that.
And we took our cat, who loved car rides.
Oh my word, that's adorable.
And we'd leave him in the car, just like a little dog. And he was just so happy. So we're like, look at our little family. We're, dating. And
that's adorable.
And so he's since passed, but we have these 2 4-year-old brothers and they both hate car rides. So that's sad for me because I really tried recreating that fun, but it has to, and DVD stores as we know it are obsolete, which is also sad for nostalgic reasons. But it's like, what about that experience can I recreate in modern times?
How funny.
Maybe I have a different cat. Maybe
you go to the thrift store and you pick up a DVD player and you pick up a DVD and you guys watch it. Like literally that could happen. That could totally happen.
I think it's fun to tap into those. And again, maybe you can't replicate it exactly, but like how can I extract that feeling?
Yes.
And maybe that doesn't mean going out to a nice restaurant. It might mean like, hey, let's take 10 minutes after the kids go to bed and like look at funny reels, which I know social media is its own thing.
But when you do it together,
it's a starting
I think
point.
It's different. Yes.
Yeah. This is so beautiful. For the listener listening, what is one thing they could start this week that would make their marriage feel lighter and happier?
So think about these things that you've heard. Is there a certain guardrail that you think is needed in your marriage? Bring it up. Don't be afraid to bring it up. Say, hey, I was listening to this podcast. It would really make me feel so much better if we did XYZ. What do you think? Maybe. So I want you to pick one of the decisions. You're going to have a rule that needs to be enforced or made. You want to say, I'm going to keep a gratitude journal this week, and I'm just going to write down everything I'm grateful for my spouse. And at the end of the week, I'm going to show it to them. Like that'd be really cool. Or I'm going to serve. I'm going to ask at the end of the day or in the middle of the day, hey, is there anything I can do for you, dear? Or I'm going to plan something fun and be like, wow, it's been a long time since we had fun. And so I'm going to plan something that is fun. So just think of the 4 rules. Which is one that you read for decisions? What is one that you really think you want to hone in on this week?
And that's beautiful advice because I think we all can listen and be like, ooh, like it just pulls a little harder. The one that we can start with. So,
and I will say, making marriage easier, it's very funny because my husband is very funny and makes us do very silly things. And I find myself in very strange precarious positions. And this has nothing to do with sex, by the way. So it's a very light read. It's easy to read. It's something you can read by yourself. It's something you could read with your spouse and then talk about the decision, the discussion question after, but making marriage easier, how to love and like your spouse for life.
And where can my listeners find your book?
And you can go to Amazon or wherever you get books. And then if you go to makingmarriageeasier.com, then you'll see the book and you'll see like different discussion questions, date night ideas, all those things are there for you.
I love that. It's so helpful, especially when decision fatigue is so real.
Yes.
And it's like, how do I speak?
Yes.
How do I make a decision? Where do I start?
All you have to do is say, honey, I love you. Is there anything I can do for you? And that's it. That's all you have to do.
Love it. So at the end of each episode, I ask my guests the same 2 questions. And the first one, Arlene, is if you could magically declutter one thing in your life forever with no effort required, what would it be? Forever. Think big.
ever. Wait, you can't say the whole house. That's cheating. That's cheating. Okay. Oh, goodness gracious. This is a tough one. I'm going to say my office. So I'm just going to magic wand over the office because like you, I have a podcast. And so I have books on the floor. You would totally disapprove. And if I have a magic wand for office, I would take.
Okay. I don't, but I'm working on it. I'm working on Mary Poppins,
you would
Katy Wells magic. And as soon as I can snap my fingers and take care of that for you, you'll be my first call.
There you go.
Second question is, what's one item in your home you would never let go of?
Okay, wedding ring is obvious, so I'm not gonna. So wedding ring would be one. One item in my home. This is difficult. I'm going to go with some kind of photo album because that would have old pictures that I don't have digitally. So then the question would be which photo album. That I'm not sure. So for my first child, he was born in 2004. So not a lot of digital stuff. So a lot of that is real photographs. And of course, since he's first child, he's got like 10 albums. That like next child has like 4 and my last child has 1. So that's how it is. So I probably grab one from each child and like go out. I think that's what I would not let
I'll
go
give you a pass. I'll let you keep the whole collection. Okay. Because we don't want to slight any of your kids.
So
Your youngest already feels slighted because of the digital. I mean, I get it. I'm the youngest of 3. And I always ask my mom growing up, there's one photo of me. This is when we hung up photos of our family, gosh forbid, in our house.
Totally.
I'm like, Mom, I'm like 8. I'm like looking around. Photo of Sarah, Peter. They're there together.
No.
There's Sarah, there's Peter. One picture
word.
of Katie. And I go, Mom, come on.
That's so funny. That is so
She's
funny.
like, you're the third child. This is very clear by the...
Yeah.
I get it. I get it.
We don't have time for that anymore.
We don't have time for that.
They just need to blow up like a huge 11 by 16 of you and then stick it somewhere and be done with it.
That's right. Yeah. Just shine a little light on the one photo. Just come on. Give me some uplighting. I don't know.
That's right.
Arlene, it was, as I expected, just such a treat talking to you today. Thanks for sharing your wisdom, your gold nuggets. I love these 4 decisions you talk about. And for all the listeners wanting to glean more insight from Arlene, highly recommend her book. I have it. I just started it a few weeks back. I'm almost done with it. It is so beautiful. And like you said, it's light. It's, not heavy. And it's just, it's dog-eared. It's highlighted so many great reflections in there. And my husband is not a reader, but I've shared some of these things with him and he loves what he's heard. So I think that's great too. Arlene, thanks so much.
Thank you, Katy, so much.